Welcome everybody, welcome to another episode of I Am Me with A&P. I am very lucky to have a special guest come through to visit tonight, and her name is Cherish. But before we get into that, I just want to say hi to everybody. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic evening, and yes, welcome to I Am Me episode 3. Okay, awesome.
Lucky number 3.
Yes, lucky number 3. Good. All right, awesome. So I'm going to hand it over to Cherish, and she's going to give you guys a little bit of info on a bit about herself and what exactly she does.
Okay, so I'm Cherish. So me and Anne actually worked together way ages ago at Foot Locker.
We're still really young though. So.
We are really young. It's all good. We look young. So I've been working in retail, obviously. You have found that out by now. For 13 years.
Wow.
Almost 14, maybe 13. I lied, 13. And I love retail because I get to meet people from all different walks of life. You know, there's things to do, things to learn.
As you all know, Cherish is in retail management. So tell me a bit about your career. Like, what made you want to get into retail management?
I actually never thought about retail management when I started retail. Retail was actually my first proper paying job.
Okay, cool.
Back when I was 22, struggling 22-year-old trying to find a job. And I just wanted a job, and I got into retail because I thought I would be good at it. And I think things progressed really quickly after that when I took opportunities to, I think, get out of my comfort zone. Because, fun fact, I used to live in Christchurch, and after the Christchurch earthquakes, I had lost my family home, and the Foot Locker store that I was working at had to close completely. It was like done, never opened again. And then the opportunity arose to move to Auckland.
Yeah.
So I just literally jumped, and then things just escalated real quick from there.
And so how many stores did you actually work at during your time at Foot Locker?
Oh, wow. I started at Christchurch City, High Street. Then I moved to Riccarton for a bit. And then we moved to Auckland for Queen Street. It was a little part-time. I don't know how I did it. I just literally jumped on a plane. And
so what, but
with
like
a part-time contract.
Okay, let's hold up on this part. So how old were you at that point?
23.
23, okay. So what was the drive? Were you scared? What made you just jump at the opportunity?
I think it's like when you have that thought in your head, this is your one chance and one chance only. Like, it's now or never, right? Like, you've already lost. I had already lost everything, as such, in that way. Like, you know, no roof over my head.
Yeah.
My family's all separated at that time because everyone was looking for a place to live, and then the store I was at is no longer there. So it's just like finding, I think, like the silver lining in a way.
Yeah, for sure. That's really good. That's inspirational.
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
We had to be like a small store to IC. You worked your way to a big store to IC. To get a manager's role, you had to take a smaller store.
Yeah, correct.
So at that time, I was like the most qualified, blah, 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 blah. But it ended up giving it to somebody else.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
And
so at that point of your career, what helped you to persevere forward from it? Because that would have been really heartbreaking.
Oh, I cried straight away when I found out.
But what was the inspiration for you to just keep pushing through?
Oh, I don't think back now, because I remember wanting to quit.
Yeah.
I think.
Did you just have to just clear your mind, put everything into place? And
to be honest, the way it played out was quite funny because I actually made it known that I was going to look for another job.
Yep.
And I made it known that I was going to interviews as well. The person they picked actually fell through 6 months later.
Gotcha.
And I just got a call one day and they go, I have your name to the store. Do you want it?
So that's pretty cool though, because at that point you would have grown a bit within that 6 months and really understood yourself, right? So that would have given you a bit more growth.
I think I just had to persevere to get what I wanted.
Yeah, for sure.
Until I actually believed in myself in a way that I had it in me to do it.
because retail can be quite difficult. A lot of people think that retail is just standing there looking pretty and greeting customers, but there's actually way more into retail.
Yeah.
And this is generalized as well. This is like from casuals to part-timers to full-timers. Everybody has to be customer focused. It's not just, you know, the casuals and part-timers and so forth. It's everybody. Even store managers need to be floor focused. And there's much more to it with customer service, right? Like everyone always thinks that customer service is just real like chill, but there's steps. And so this is why we're going through this kind of conversation, because I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of people out there that are quite interested in getting into retail, and it's a lot of hard work. It's not as what people perceive it to be.
Or like what you see it to be.
I mean,
what you see is not really what
a lot of people think you stand there and just fold clothes. I mean, don't get me wrong, we do that.
Oh, I love to fold clothes.
Yeah, same. Like, what about Tilly and his perfection, like folds?
I'm like that.
Like crisp folds.
Like, has to be.
Yeah. And like, you know what, guys? Like, if you do go into a retail store, like, honestly, be kind. Like, I understand you want to open up something, but you don't have to open up a million of the same thing. I mean, it's every size is exactly the same, unless it's like an athletic brand and you've got like different like fittings. But majority of the time, sizes are sizes when you go into
or just ask
stores.
Somebody that works there, like they are able to help you out.
Utilize the staff. 100%.
We're there for that main reason,
to serve.
Correct. And help you out, have a grand old conversation. I think people forget we're humans too.
That's 100%. But like, what do you think is? What would you say is one of the best things that you've learnt from being in retail?
Oh, best things I've learned,
or just something that you like one of the things that you really like enjoy.
I think I really enjoy seeing my team like grow in themselves.
Love that.
I think I'm the kind of manager that doesn't push them to be like a certain way. It's always like, okay, where are you at? What is your next step, or what is your next goal? Or like, what are you interested in doing in this space?
So like progression.
Yeah. It can be like, oh, like I think I remember some of them being like, I just want to learn how to VM. Okay, it doesn't have to be a management
VM
role.
Equals visual merchandising.
Or I want to learn how to use the tills.
Tills is pause point of sale
where we take your money.
where we process all
when you pay us.
Process all the sales.
Or like they want to learn just little things. Like it doesn't have to be a huge thing. And it's like to them it's like a great accomplishment.
Well, that's the thing. Like a lot of the time we have a lot of uni students that come through in retail.
Or even younger people, like 16, 17
like
year olds.
School kids, and it's such a great stepping stone. Retail. It really does teach you work ethic and
even life lessons.
100%, and like time management.
And working with other people of different types of personalities and characters.
Cultures. It's such a variety of cultures.
I know. Like you learn something new every day, I feel. Like even if it's about like your teammate or like a customer or like anything. And actually, to be honest, in retail, you don't know who you'll meet and who would walk into your store.
That's true. I've met some pretty cool people. That's a great question for you. Who are some like people that you've come across while working in retail?
I mean, like yesterday alone, because I opened the Sylvia Park HUFFER store yesterday.
Exciting! Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, even in that, because HUFFER is a local brand, and like we talk about like supporting
our
local
brands.
Businesses, and I think through that, like we had like DJ Sylvia come through.
Oh, that's a vibe.
Even Adams came through the Queen Street one.
That was really cool. Yes, I remember that.
But I think we also forget that they're normal people.
Yeah, for sure. And like people just want to be treated
like
nicely.
Humans.
Yeah. And even like when you're working as, like you said before, in retail, people think that you're a robot or something, but everyone's human, guys. So be kind. Yeah, that's exactly it. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the biggest thing too, like, if an opportunity doesn't come across for you, sometimes it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to step out of your comfort
Zone
zone
to
to find who you are
Yeah.
and really
And
understand
I
where you
think
should
like
be.
at that point in time, I thought I had to go bigger.
I remember I had a conversation with you
Yeah.
and I said to Cherish, I was like, no, like you need to go somewhere that you get life balance.
Yeah.
I remember saying that
Correct.
to her. I was like, life
Correct.
balance.
And I was crying to her on
Yeah.
the phone.
And I was like, life is so short, so you have to have a whole lot of life balance.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you said, just because a company isn't as big as the one that you were previously with, it doesn't mean it's not going to fill your cup. Cherish. So, in terms of you working at HUFFER,
Mm-hmm.
I hear that you have a second job.
Yes, I do have a second job.
And what would that happen to be?
I bartend in the weekend.
Okay, so you are a retail manager by day and a bartender by night.
Correct.
So what would you say are the differences between hospitality and retail?
I think they both are very similar, to be honest, because you have to be like real thick skin. I think in retail it's more structured and people are not intoxicated, so it's easier to deal with.
Yeah, true.
But in hospo and bartending and stuff, you deal with like drunk people. So it's like sometimes they don't understand what you're saying or you don't understand what they're
I think
saying.
it's crazy that you have two jobs, but the second job is pretty hardcore because bartending is pretty intense. And then you probably don't even get home till like 4:35 sometimes.
Yeah, or later than that.
Yeah, and you literally have Sunday, Mondays off.
Yep.
So like in terms of how you recuperate or get your energy back, what do you get up to when it comes to your actual days off?
If I was to be honest, don't judge me. Like I don't wake up till the afternoon.
Each to their own.
Like, and that's just me. And as I grow older, it's harder.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember like just the other weekend gone, like I literally was in bed the whole day. I only woke up and got up to eat, and that was it. And then straight back to bed.
So like, what would you say is the drive that keeps you going though? Because mentally that would be hard.
I think at the time I really wanted to get rid of my student loan.
Gotcha.
So my second job actually got rid of my student loan for me.
That's so
which
good.
Was great.
That's amazing.
I know. I don't
That's
want
an
to be stuck with
accomplishment.
one for like ages, you know, like
For sure. And then you just got so used to it that you just carried
kept
on.
going, and then I think just different opportunities arose as I went.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh.
So what would you say if anybody was out there wanting to get into bartending? What are some of the things that they need to do?
To be honest, I had no experience.
Yeah.
I was out for my birthday one year, and I just asked for the job.
That's pretty cool.
And I got given it.
And then you got trained in it.
Yeah, trained in it. I learned on the job pretty much.
Well, like if somebody was to get into bartending, they'd have to do a course.
I don't think you do. Like I said, I learned on the job.
I guess it just depends on the company or the people,
or
right?
who wants to give you a chance.
Yeah.
As for me, like I was like a little party animal back in the day, and the manager of that club already knew who I was, and he was just like, "Oh, you know, like the basics." So it's just
that's so cool. Someone gave you a chance,
and that was the start of it.
And so, like, how long have you been doing bartending for?
Since I managed Henderson.
Wow, that's like
9 years, I think, almost 10 maybe.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so like both my retail management and my bartending went like
hand in hand. That's amazing. The fact that you could do that.
Is it? But bartending is fun though because you meet different people again, like retail, but it's like a different set of people.
Well, you definitely have to have some kind of mentality to be able to hold down a second job.
But also, like retail management helped me, kind of like in bartending because I could be firm and stern, like to like drunk customers.
Yeah, so you wouldn't tolerate them. Yeah, so you're being naughty and you don't get another drink.
Drink water. Drink some more water.
Yeah, for sure. 15 minutes. It's like being a mum behind the bar. Right? What keeps you inspired to, persevere and move yourself to the next level? Not so much within bartending because you're happy to just have that as your side hustle, but like with retail management, what inspires you to keep pushing to get to the next level?
I think it's just like we want progression all the time, right? Like, and I think when I was at Foot Locker, it was everything that I ever wanted.
Yeah.
in a way, or like it was like my biggest dream. I don't know why.
It's actually like a very common thing that I've heard.
I think it's a good point to start a retail career.
It's fun.
It is like
It's a hype. Like the music's good.
yeah. But I think like if anybody was the one to go into retail, like just do it. I think it's a good like
Yeah, retail. Honestly, retail is such a good stepping stone.
correct.
Teaches you heaps of
A
cool
lot.
things.
And,
Work
like,
ethic, leadership skills.
And if you can get into it in a young age, I would say go try it.
That's
Like,
it for sure.
I think it brings a lot of opportunities.
Retail, you can go in any
Direction.
direction. I mean, a lot of people I know have gotten into flight attending.
Yes.
That's
I
like a
actually
massive
got
one.
one of my Christmas schedules into flight attending.
Yeah, flight attending. Actually, customer service, you can go into any genre of work. It's just how confident you are. And like, let's be honest, nowadays your personality holds so much stature to getting a job.
Correct.
You know, it doesn't matter if you are experienced or not. If you bring the right attitude and a strong personality to the forefront of working in retail.
But I will say this now, like maybe in the last 3-4 years, when I've hired people, I have never looked at experience. I'll meet you in person.
You can just feel it.
See what your vibe is. If you have personality, if you got character, you can talk.
But like, you know what? I'll be honest. I have hired a lot of people that have been quite quiet and timid because I can see a spark. I've done that a lot, and they've turned out to be some of the most successful people that I've ever come across, and even a lot of them have become managers. And it goes to show that if you put perseverance and you bring your own attributes and your vibes to a job, that you can accomplish anything that you really want. Like, it doesn't even matter. And even like a lot of times people are like, oh, you have to be a certain look. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just got to bring yourself to the table when you go into a interview. Don't be shy.
Correct. I'm like,
you have to be yourself, right?
Because we're not out to look for little robots.
So you've been in retail for 13 years, yeah?
Yeah.
About 12 to 13 years. What are some of the things that you will take with you to the next level and whatever you pursue? What are some of the main points that you carry with yourself that will lead you as you go?
I think retail really taught me a lot of resilience. Amazing. I think my career, like journey wise, has taught me a lot of resilience and has made me very resilient. I think people talk about retail and they think that retail is easy, but it's actually not that easy. You have to have a lot of determination to get into retail management, I feel.
Management for sure. I mean, if you're going in as a casual part-timer and full-timer, you just got to bring your A game.
100%.
When it comes to sales. And honestly, one of the biggest things that are really, really helpful in retail is initiative.
Yes.
When you are at work, like, use your initiative. Like, you don't have to just stand there. Like, you know, if you see you need to take rubbish, if you see any, there's always something to do. Like, people are like, oh, it's so boring, I just stand here. There's clothes that need to be folded. If you're in clothing, apparel needs to be racked, needs to be cleaned, size ordered.
Correct, hung properly.
Yeah, and if you're with footwear, you need to be tucking in the laces, checking that it's priced. Like, there's so much
to do.
It's not just standing there. The store won't stay immaculate if the team isn't on it.
100.
And the manager is there to drive sales and to overlook it all. But like, honestly, you stand out from a crowd when you have initiative.
I agree. I second that.
Yeah, 100%. Like you just feel so good when you've got really strong-minded people, and you appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, you go home and you're tired and stuff, especially as a manager, because there's just so much more, because you have to personally know your team really well, understand different circumstances, and really be empathetic and sympathetic. Like, you've got to understand personal to business.
100. Like, it's a lot. People think like being a manager is so like easy, but actually it's not.
Managing people, this is from my point of view, I feel is probably one of the hardest things, because you always have to have balance.
And you deal with different personalities and characters and situations.
And you can't be unfair, and And I've had my, like, you know, when I got into management when I was younger, there's a lot to understand. It's not all what it looks how it should be. People always think, oh, it must be so much fun, and it's not fun having to tell people off.
Yeah, and it's like, especially if you're not a confrontational
person, yeah, but you do
like,
learn.
It's like the awkward conversations,
For
and then
sure.
you're like, I'm so sorry, like,
but then afterwards it just becomes like clockwork.
Yeah,
like it's easy. Yeah, like it's just like practice makes perfect. It's actually so true.
Yeah, I think like even sometimes like you always have to think about like approaching a situation in the right way.
manner.
Yeah,
because everyone's different. Like you could go to someone that's like got a really like quiet personality and be really loud and proud and in their face. It'd be like whoa.
Yeah, and then like you will have one of those in your team, and then there will be somebody that always backs off from that kind of energy.
Yeah, and then you can come across someone that loves it black and white, and you just got to tell them what's up, and they appreciate it.
Correct. And then your like behavior or like their mistake changes like straight away.
Because one thing you got to remember, don't judge a book by its cover. So even what I used to do is, even when someone was continuously late, like as much as it would frustrate me, I would always make sure I understood the situation before jumping and making assumptions.
I think that's where like I think I always go by the whole seek to understand before you say something.
That's true though.
Kind of thing, because you don't know what is happening behind the scenes.
And like we like we said before, we're human. Like, you know, outside of work, like what do you do for fun? Or, you know, what keeps you balanced in your life?
I think just like surrounding myself with like a close knit circle that I trust 100%, and just spending time with those kind of people. And then my dog.
Love our dog.
Yeah, and I always have to give myself time to like chill before another big week.
Yeah.
Because like as managers, I think you take on a lot, and sometimes it's really hard to like just.
You need to try and figure out how to refill your cup.
Yeah, and because you give so much to people, and you're like always in a social environment, people think it's like nothing.
Yeah.
But like when you keep talking and you like give out so much, like you need to find a way to like
bring it back in.
Yeah. And I think I find like being by myself for at least like a day is good. Like go do my like errands, like reset for the week, or like make my bed,
or like do your nails and do your lashes, like pamper yourself.
Something to like make yourself feel
good. And like, who doesn't like getting their hair done as well? What's something that you live by in terms of like just life in general? Like what values do you really like cherish and like cherish and appreciate?
No pun intended.
No, it wasn't actually. It just happened. But that like you appreciate and that keeps you grounded.
I think like when I reminisce back, like okay, so I've left Foot Locker like just over a year ago, and when I was reminiscing back on it just recently on like an Instagram post that I posted, and you know people always say like the grass is greener on the other side or whatever, but to be honest,
or the grass isn't always as green as it is on the other. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But then I've always thought in this manner where like, you know, the grass is always green.
It doesn't matter what kind of, it's always green.
It's always green, but what shade of green is up to you.
For sure. And the greener it is, the fun it is.
Yeah.
Like the more you like, it's enriched with you, right?
Nurture your own grass, like you're nurturing your own self.
It becomes a great color.
Exactly. And then sometimes you want to jump to your grass.
Well, I hope you guys have all enjoyed episode 3. But I will be signing off with Cherish, and I hope to see you guys all again next week, Sunday, 5 p.m. on I Am Me with AMP.
Her.